This area is really, really interesting.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Gravel Union Talks, a podcast series full of inspiring stories, news and events from the world of gravel. Each month we'll be talking with guests who are passionate about riding off the beaten track, adventure riding, bikepacking and gravel racing. I'm your host Carlo, and behind the microphone in Newcastle, back from the USA, is Olly. Olly, how you doing?
Slightly jet lagged, but yeah, good.
I can imagine. We have a star guest on every episode. Today is going to be about the northern part of Limburg and Scottish bikepacking. So for today's episode, we have our a guest in our Gravel Union dungeon, even because he's in the studio in the Netherlands, live in the studio. John Timmermans, Mr. GT14 on Instagram, a keen gravel rider and bikepacker. And a social media celeb, Olly.
So, wow, famous at last. I knew we'd have somebody famous eventually.
Yeah, we have it. We've made it. This is the first celeb in the show, the social media celeb, John. He will be talking about summer adventure in Scotland, under strange circumstances in Scotland. I know, just around the corner for you, actually, Olly.
Yeah, not far away.
And he's also a keen gravel rider in the northern Limburg area, and that's just around the corner for me. So he'll be talking about the hidden gravel treasures in Roermond, Venlo, and other areas in this part of the country. They're all condensed on the online platform Land van Grind en Zand .nl. That's land of gravel and sand in English, by the way. So we'll be having him on the show just in a couple of minutes, but before we head over to John, I just mentioned you're back from the US of A. What did you do there, Olly?
I've been mountain biking, which was my background before I was a gravel rider. And it's 20 years ago this year since I first went and rode in Arizona. And the friend of mine that I was with, we're both turning 50 imminently. So we thought we'd celebrate 50th birthdays and 20 years since we first rode there. So we went and spent 10 days riding in the sunshine, which was amazing. I very nearly didn't come home. I was really tempted just to stay.
I can imagine.
Say, I'm in Sedona. If you need me, I'm in the sunshine.
Well, I saw a few of your rides on Strava, and quite some elevation also, Olly.
Yeah, it was good. We did plenty of climbing. It's really, really fun riding. Just super technical some bits, and then super smooth and flowy other bits. So it was a great mix. And just constant sunshine. Their weather forecast for the next 2 weeks is just sunshine every single day.
Mm-hmm. The weather has definitely changed here in north of Europe. So we're up to the autumn and the winter season, but that's also nice. The Gravel Union website, we have some nice articles. What's the biggest news item of last month, Olly?
I think the biggest one was last week. Canyon launched their highly anticipated update on the Grail, which is their gravel race bike. It's been a very badly kept secret, partly because they sponsor so many good gravel racers, and they've been using the bike since about May this year, and so it's been all over social media, lots of kind of spy images, but so everybody knew it was coming. And then it was finally launched last week. And in absolutely perfect timing, one of their sponsored riders won the women's category at the UCI Gravel World Championships. So Kasia Numadoma was the female professional world gravel cycling champion on the new top secret Grail that hadn't even been launched at the time. So that was a pretty impressive bit of PR for
good timing.
Their new bike is now the world champion bike before it's even launched.
Hats off to Ben. We know the PR officer of Canyon, so hats off to Ben. It's quite different, by the way, to the older edition. The double handlebar is gone. The seat post is different.
Yeah, it looks amazing, but they've made it really racy now. It's aimed at the not the party pace people. It's aimed at the race pace.
Yeah, the grizzle probably is for the party paces.
Yeah, exactly it.
The most popular stories on gravelunion.cc of last month, Olly.
Okay, two totally different ones. One of them is actually about the Gravel World Championships that we were just talking about. We had our roving reporters on the ground with Emmy Collins and Phil Gale, her partner, and they both shot some beautiful images from the race. And so I put up a photo story of the shots that they took, and it's all there's everything from behind the scenes to in the middle of the action, and some it covered the event really well.
Our luck that Emmy couldn't ride because she's a really keen and really fast gravel rider herself, because she had an injury. But our luck was that we have great pictures of the gravel worlds on the website, and the survey. We have a whopping success in our survey, because loads of people.
So each year we try and do a survey of Gravel Union members to make sure that they're happy with what we're doing, and to get some insight into what they would like us to do next, or what things we should consider changing or improving or whatever. And as part of entering the survey, you can win a Cube C62 Pro gravel bike. And we've been inundated with entries, which is brilliant. It gives us really fantastic set of data to look at and see what we're doing well, what we need to improve, but also gives lots of people the chance to win this great gravel bike.
And this podcast will be live end of October, so that might be, if you're listening to this one, you might have the opportunity to still enter. Over 15,000 people already entered, so there's a small chance that you win the Cube New Road. At this moment, John is pointing at himself, saying he wants to win the Cube New Road GRX bike. So he entered. He said, "Did you enter?" Okay, that's nice. The survey is big news, and we will also share all the results, obviously, with the viewers and listeners and guests on our website. But we'll be getting back to that later. Let's go to the main guest of today. Welcome, John.
Well, thank you, Carlo and Olly.
It's nice to have you on the show. We know each other. Actually, did you get here by bike or?
Well, no, I did go by car this time, but
so we live in the same.
Don't tell anyone.
And we do
2 kilometers.
We live in the same area. Maybe we could start off asking you to introduce yourself to the listeners of. There's more than one probably, Olly. So the listeners.
I hope
there's at least 3 today.
There's 3 today at least. The listeners of our podcast, John.
Okay, well, thank you. My name is John Timmermans. I'm a gravel rider from the Netherlands, born and raised in the southern area, in the mid part of Limburg. And also, like Carlo said, I'm doing a lot of things besides my not regular job regarding cycling. That's where I know Carlo from. We did recently a job together, and so I'm very happy to be here and talk to you something about the land of gravel and sand.
Yeah, that's one of the big loves that we both have. We live in a great area. How would you describe yourself as a gravel rider, John?
Well, I just heard Olly talk about this new Canyon bike, and obviously the way he explains it, it's not for me, because I'm a party pacer. I would say I don't have anything with going fast. I really enjoy riding bikes, mainly gravel, but I have made a commitment to myself that if I want to come home after a ride, I want to know where I was. So I'm not a nose on the bar kind of rider.
I know that you're always complaining to me that I go too fast, because we never actually rode together.
No, but I don't think we can ride together.
No, I'm not
if
that
I start an hour earlier and wait for you, that will be fine.
But you always make beautiful images during the ride. You're more like Olly. You also have. I hardly ever have pictures made, but I think you and Olly would ride together
yes,
and make the most beautiful pictures there possibly can be made.
I think that sounds like a plan, Olly.
Great.
Yeah.
But you're also an observer when you ride, because when I see your pictures after, it's like you said, you're not a nose on the handlebar kind of guy.
Well, the thing is, I also I'm not used to be, but I did have an own company besides my job being a photographer, and so I really enjoy, besides riding bikes, I enjoy making pictures and also being, let's say, a hobby photographer. So I'm always on the bike from that point of view. I always looking for great sceneries or nice places to take a picture from. and also use them, of course, on my social media or other platforms.
Yeah, Olly, I'm the kind of guy that never sees a picture. Olly, as a videographer and photographer, both have you have. Is it something you can learn to see an angle, to see a picture, or is it just something that you also need to have an eye for?
That's a very good question. I
Yeah.
think it's a mixture of the two, but it's maybe something you have more than something you can learn. You can learn how to get the best out of a camera, but I think you quite often need the vision to see the picture in your head before you take it with your camera.
Exactly. Yeah, that's. I was thinking the exact same thing before you said it.
Yeah, it's
I always, when I write, I see something and I already know how the picture would look like if I finish it. So yes,
yeah.
it's
I'm
something
definitely the
natural.
other end of the spectrum because I always nick other guys' pictures or girls also. And but I do always try to get the copyright notice in on the Strava. So I agree. I just don't see it. I always
You cannot see it if you go like
No,
average of 28
I'm not
kilometers
going
an
that.
hour,
I'm
Carlo.
not.
So
I'm not going that fast.
That's what we're doing here.
But
on a
you
gravel
already
bike.
mentioned that you're on social media. We introduced you as a social media celeb. How would you describe it? Are you an influencer, or how do you how would you describe yourself?
Well, I would say I'm an unconditional gravel lover, and I'm here to preach, on my platform the love of gravel and cycling. And I would not call myself an influencer. I'm an old school rider and also old school guy from that point of view. But well, of course, when you have a platform with a lot of followers, people will ask you questions. What tire size do you use? What gearing do you use? What bike do you use for this kind of surface? So if you look at from that point of view, is it influencing? Well, maybe it is, but I'm just glad to share the knowledge or the experience or things like that.
Do you have like a main theme in your images, or is it scattered all over?
Oh, well, the main theme would be of gravel, because I would say 90% of what I do is gravel riding. This year I rode my road bike 2 times, so it's getting less. I'm more and more into gravel, and I like to show that on my platform. And of course, I make selfies, I make bike photos, I make scenery photos. It's a mixture of that.
Yeah, and as we touched upon that just now, but it's always nice to see that you have an eye, because I do the same routes now and again, and then when I do it after you, I take the points that you put in the pictures as oh wow, and but if I do it before you, I always look back and say, well, did I cross that?
Yeah, you never know where
I
you
missed
were,
that one.
Carlo. And that's the whole point.
Yeah. You have been. You're also a bikepacker,
Yes,
and you went to
occasionally.
the neighboring country of Olly to Scotland, just north of Newcastle, where he's based.
Yeah.
What did you do this summer?
Yeah, well, let's say it's a lifetime dream I had to go to Scotland, and then all of a sudden, a friend of mine, Carlo also knows him. It's Dimitri.
Yeah, I know
He
Dimitri,
said,
yeah.
he said, let's do some bike packing in England, and I said, okay, I want to do that, but on one condition: I want to go to Scotland. So, and that's what we did, and then what we did is basically the Badger Divide route. I'm sure Ollie heard
Great.
about it.
Yeah, I haven't done it, but I know of it.
Yeah, so what we did is we went to Glasgow, then took the train to Inverness, and then we cycled back through the Highlands from Inverness to Glasgow, and that's a route
Great.
called the Badger Divide. So I didn't design it or something. It's just I took it from komoot, from a lady called Catherine Moore, I believe.
Oh, Catherine.
We know Catherine.
We know
very well.
Catherine quite well.
Yeah, she did it, and she was my inspiration for this. And then we cycled through the islands for 5 days because we're party pacers. So we did 390 kilometers, but 6,600 meters of elevation. So it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So we decided to do it in 5 days, and then we had a lot of fun.
What was the highlight of your trip there?
Well, yeah, the highlight, it's more kind literally and also figuratively speaking. It was, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Ollie help me out here, but it was the Kuriariak Pass.
Yeah, something like that. I'm afraid my
Yeah.
Scottish pronunciation is equally as
my
as poor,
Scottish
but I
is
think
not
that's about
that
right.
good, and but Kuriarek Pass. If I'm sorry for the Scottish listeners if I pronounce that wrong, but it's not a big pass. It's only 770 meters, but it's a climb of, let's say, 9 to 10 kilometers, average of above 12%. But the surface is the issue here if you are on a gravel bike and with these big rocks. And so it was very heavy, and it was really nice to make it to the top. That gave a really good feeling. And it took a little time to get there, but we made some spaghetti when we were on top from the adventure food, and then we could carry on.
Ollie, is it
That
good?
sounds super fun.
When we went, I was in Newcastle this summer. We actually like maybe 15 or 20k into Scotland. You know Scotland well?
I know it reasonably well. I haven't done the Badger Divide, and I know the Highlands less well because it's quite, even from Newcastle, it's still probably 5 or 6 hours drive. So I tend to spend most of my time in the Scottish borders, which is a lot closer.
Yeah,
it's highly recommendable, Ollie.
Yeah.
If you, but I know the feeling because I also cycle the routes. I live close by, not as much as far away. You know, that's But it's Scotland. It's in my heart, and I really love it. Actually, going back in a few weeks.
Yeah,
going to Edinburgh, but
Great.
it's just a city trip. Then with the
so
girls.
You have two ambassadorships, one for the north of Limburg and one for Scotland.
Well, I really love Scotland, and if you cycled the Badger Divide, it's like a virus.
Well, I think you might have planted the seed because I loved Scotland, just the border area, and it's really different to other areas that I know because I'm cycling in other countries.
It's really rough and unique and just it looks like it's been there for thousands of years like that. That's the feeling you get, and it's really off the grid, and you don't have reception for days, and it sounds strange, but it.
And how did you
do
the nights?
Yeah, well, we like I said, we're not really racers or something like that. So we did plan it really smooth. So the change we made compared to Catherine is that we did it from bed and breakfast to bed and breakfast. So
great.
We didn't want to go all in because to be honest, we thought our vision of Scotland was like everybody else. Well, we're going to ride for 5 days in the pouring rain, and it's going to be cold. So we said, okay, well, we also a little luxury horses here, so we're going to go ride from bed and breakfast to bed and breakfast, have a good sleep and a good shower, and start off the next day. Actually, that also made it a little complex because when you plan a stay on a certain location, you have to make it there in that day. So. If you go wild camping, and of course it's much more adventurous, I admit immediately, but you can stop wherever you want and say, that's a good place, I'm going to call it a day and stay for the night. But we had to make it to this end stage every day, and that was also fun part of the challenge.
Yeah. That's always the question is also, you have flexibility when you do your own camping, but if you have like booked bed and breakfasts prior to your trip, then there's always the pressure of making, because you have some bad luck on a day.
It adds a different kind of adventure,
And did you have pouring rain, by the way?
Well, that's an interesting question because we trained for months in the rain, but every day it rained in the Netherlands. We went out cycling, and then we went in the last week of May and the first week of June, maybe Ollie knows. I know what happened was that it was the only time in history that there was like a heat wave in Scotland. So I had amazing weather. It was even, to be honest, and I'm a little bit ashamed to say it was almost too hot to go cycling.
Which is not something you can say very often in Scotland.
That's a first.
So I talked to local people, and everybody said, well, we never saw this before. Did you bring this? It was like 30 degrees, and then up on the Kuriarek Pass, of course, it was 8 degrees, but down in the Highlands, in the lower parts, it was just 30 degrees. So we only had rain gear and cold weather gear, so I cycled for 3 days in only my base layer shirt because all of the rest was too hot.
So, yeah, that's climate change.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
But we're not complaining afterwards.
Well, that was about your ambassadorship for the Scottish cycling. You're also an advocate of the cycling in the northern part of Limburg. First off, let's because we know that people are listening in from the rest of Europe and even beyond that. Where should we have the focus on the map? Where are we?
Yeah, well, where we are is, let's say, on the east-south side of the country. If you have the map of the Netherlands, then you see on the right side, you see like a boot of the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And what we talk about is, let's say, the middle and the top part of this boot. So just below Nijmegen, on the height of Eindhoven, east of Eindhoven, and then all the way down to somewhere like Sittard. That's the
So you're
area.
bordering Belgium, which also has a part of Limburg,
Yeah.
but let's not get into that because then we would be talking about.
It's next to
150
the
years
German
history.
border, and let's say an hour drive from Belgium, maybe.
Yeah. So there's the natural border with Germany, with the hilly
Yes.
parts, and on the other end, on the western part, there's the border with Belgium.
Yes.
Okay, so do you have that image straight? Because you know probably the southern part of Limburg, Olly, because you've been there.
Yeah, I do, exactly. But the northern part I've driven through, but I'm afraid I haven't ridden there.
Yeah, that's you should stop.
Shame on you, Ollie.
Shame on me.
Change that.
Something to make amends for next year.
Yeah.
There's this new, I think it exists for a year or so, but quite new platform to promote the area. Land van Grint en Zand.nl. Please check the show notes because all the non-Dutch will probably say. So in English it would be land of gravel and sand. Tell us a little bit more about the platform.
Yeah. Well, the platform is originally, powered also by Limburg Cycling, and we intend to create a platform for off-road cycling, so off-road riding, so basically MTB and also gravel. And on this platform, it's mainly, of course, for Dutch nationals because it's written in Dutch. What we see is that a lot of people go really down south to go riding. For road riding, it's pretty obvious because of the hilly parts we have. Off-road riding, of course, the same. But then there are a lot of hidden gems in the other part of Limburg, in the middle and in the north. We have 3 national parks surrounding where we live, actually where Carlo and I are now, in his hometown, Venlo. We have in the south the National Park Mijnweg. On the north we have the National Park Maasduinen. And on the west we have a National Park, the Grote Pil. So that's really something that, actually what Ollie said, it's something we heard a lot. People drive through it, going to the south, but don't know what hidden gems we have already here.
Because the south is like, if you talk about cycling in the Netherlands,
Yes.
for foreigners, everybody thinks world championships in Valkenburg, Shimano Experience Center in Valkenburg, Amstel Gold Race in the Valkenburg area. So it's all the southern, because that's the only part we have real hills.
Yeah, that's true. But the interesting thing is that because we live close to the German border in the area where we live here now, if I cycle from where we are now, and I go now riding with Carlo and we cycle east for 3 kilometers, we have the same area than in the south of Limburg, but we are in Germany then. So that's what makes this area really interesting for cycling, especially off-road cycling, because the real gravel, the real glamour, not only glamour gravel, but real smooth gravel routes, they are a lot here. So a lot of tourists don't know that, and the platform we created also to point that out and tell people more about this and give them some insights in the possibilities we have in this area.
Yeah, because it's really diverse, I would say. Like,
yes,
there's the division of the province, or at least our part of the province, is east to the river Maas, the Meuse in English, and the western part and the eastern part is flat because it's you're into the areas called the Pale, which is really flat.
It's the west, yeah.
That's
West
right.
part
Yeah,
is
the other way around. So the western part and on the eastern part, you're in the hills and in the forests that all lead. Well, you might even not know that you're in Germany because it's
exactly.
It's
Yeah, you immediately have also this feeling of being on a foreign holiday, because actually you are, but it looks like
Now and again
you are somewhere, I don't know, for hours of driving. So that's really interesting to see this change of scenery.
And how do you get people to ride in because it's information, but it's also routes.
Yes. Yeah, but we try to create a lot of routes. Also have people creating routes. So what we try now is to at least once a month have a new route available, launch it on the website for people to be inspired, or just to download the route, of course, to ride it and try it. And we have all kinds of different start and finish points. So for everybody, there should be an opportunity to find a route that's interesting for them. I'm also one of the people who designs routes. I really enjoy it. I know the area well, of course, and we also have, let's say, guests who make a route for us, and so that's really, really fun.
Yeah, Olly, we invite you to come over to our part of
Great.
of the
I'd
world.
love it. I wouldn't need any arm twisting at all.
Right.
Okay, well, you're more than welcome to join us. Did you have any? Because we're both from this area. What would you like to know about the area?
I guess what kind of riding, or what the riding is like, because I know the bit around Valkenburg pretty well now. So how does it compare to there? What's different about it, or why should people consider stopping in the north rather than heading down to the south?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm not saying they should, not go riding in the south. I also do that.
Sure.
But the difference is, I would say, if you go off-road riding, for road cycling, it's obviously more hilly in the south. When you go off-road cycling, the main difference, I also, like you, Ollie, come from mountain biking. And for real mountain biking, like you explained in your intro, if when you want to really go technical and things like that, then the south would be a good area for you. But if you are, let's say, maybe less skilled or not interested in these technical things, and you just want to have, endless gravel roads, endless sceneries, then the middle and the north is for me, it's really the obvious region. Because there you find, you can. I created routes here from Carlo and I. We live in the city, and I can create a route from 100 kilometers, which is about 85% off-road. So it's really getting out of the city for 2-3 kilometers, and then it's off-road all day long. And that's what's possible. And that's also, of course, possible in the south. But then mainly it's more technical or even more hilly. Some people don't enjoy going up and down all day.
Yep.
And here you have that choice. When I go riding in the south, I know it's going to be going up and down all day. But if you want a route here, you can choose. You can say I go flat all day, I go a little hilly, I go some more hilly. That's the interesting thing.
Great. How forested is it? I was trying to think of, because one of the things with riding in the other bits of Holland, I know of some areas like where the Green Divide route runs is incredibly forested. Is that the same for the north of Limburg?
Yes, it's pretty much the same because when you go to the Green Divide, it's on the Veluwe, as we call it in the Netherlands. It's also a national park, and so the national park, the Mijnweg or the Maasduinen, it's also. But the Maasduinen a little less, but the Mijnweg is really forested, so it's about the same. Actually, you can compare the Mijnweg a little bit with the Veluwe, but it's on a smaller scale. So it's more like a hidden gem in the Netherlands. Not a lot of people know about it. I'm really surprised. I was born and raised there, but I'm really surprised also from the Instagram platform. People approach me and say, can I go ride with you sometime for the Mijnweg? And I did that a few times, and people actually are amazed and say, "Wow, I didn't know we had this here," because it's really a hidden gem. It's not known really well, and I love that, and I try to protect that secret all my life.
And
But now we have this platform, and I'm on a certain point where I want to share this. So that's why I also became a member of this platform to be able to
actually
to
it's
share
all
that.
the way when you have the eastern border of the province. It's like Leandra did a
Yeah.
route, starting off in Nijmegen, which is just north of Limburg, all the way south to Maastricht, which is in the south, and you have on the Dutch-German border, it's like forests all the time, all the time. So on the German end and on the Dutch end, it's like it's you could ride without having too much tarmac roads from Nijmegen to Maastricht.
Yes, you can. And I'm also, well, we talked about racing and party pacing, and I'm also really surprised that, let's say, the racing community is not already doing some really serious racing in this area, because the real, like Carlo is not a professional racer, but he's riding much
Most
faster.
definitely not.
He's riding much faster than I do. But for these people, this area is really, really interesting. If you are, let's say, keen on riding high averages on your gravel road, on your gravel bike, this is the area to go to, because in the south you cannot. Some people can, but because of the hilliest, your average will go down.
Yeah.
But if you're a numbers freak, then here is where you can go endless straights and corners going high speed.
And everybody has the perception of the Netherlands that it's densely populated, but it's not actually.
But not here.
This area of the country is quite there's space, a lot of farming, and what makes it also easier. And let's be honest, in the south of the Netherlands, it's quite busy with loads of tourists.
Yeah.
Even the people, the locals from southern part of this province in Limburg, go over the Belgian border, over the German border, because they don't have that much riders on the roads and on the and in the forest. So, you can still ride like a day here and see maybe 4 or 5 people, some walking a dog and others joining a bike ride. So
that's all.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, again, just pop by and we'll.
You're invited, Olly. And
yeah. This is the next gravel union meeting will be in the beautiful city of Venlo, so check that out. Any future plans for the platform? Because is it going to be big, or what's the goal?
Well, we actually plan it to be very big. That's for sure. And the plan is now to, like I said, to have at least one new route a month. If it's up to me, it would be more, but we're working on that. And well, the goal is to make the area more known to the average rider. And like you said, that's also, let's say, a second part of the agenda is to make people aware of there is more than riding in the south, and so also to have the tourists saying, okay, when I live in Amsterdam, I can ride with my car 1.5 hours, and I'm in the north part of the Netherlands.
It saves you an hour's
saves
drive.
me an hour drive, and I have a really nice area, because we talk about gravel a lot, but also there's farm roads and everything, dirt roads. We have a good mixture of that, forest and non-forest.
Yeah, for mountain bikers, there's some set out routes also with the opportunity to get from one mountain bike route to the other. So we're trying to promote the area, Olly.
That sounds really good.
Is it working?
Yeah, it is for sure. If it's quiet, there's not too many people there. There's kilometers and kilometers of gravel riding. It's great scenery. It sounds ideal.
Yeah, when I compare it to other regions, because I'm also trying to invite a lot of people over here, and I know especially for Amsterdammers, it's always like, okay, I have to go all the way south. It's always I always tell them that from the south to Amsterdam is a shorter distance than from Amsterdam to the south. It's actually the same, but for Amsterdam it's always the drill. It's probably the same in bigger cities in every country. Is that if you go to the rural areas, is that okay? They need to to cross a hurdle and say, well, okay, I'll go down south. But it's really diverse, and it's so nice to ride over here with all the opportunities that we have. I'm originally not from this area, and I'm from an area with lots of forests, but it's like, to be honest, seen them all. And the fact that you can really ride for 80-90% gravel in your rides is something that you can't
incredible.
do. Yeah, for example, in the Green Divide is great. We have Aaron is actually also doing a route for the platform.
Yes.
Who made it's beautiful over there, but it's something that needs to be pointed out. That's the, I think, the main objective of the platform. Well, best of luck with all of that. We're trying to get some. Well, actually, I see people doing routes that you made in my circle, so it works. People,
Yeah, it works well. I'm really glad to hear that, and I also see that, and I can only enjoy seeing that. And
but you also get confirmation of those, because we've been posting on
Yeah.
over. What's the confirmation you get from riders that visit the area?
Yeah, well, most of them enjoy it really much, and they are surprised because I see there are two kinds of people. I see people who live in this area who actually I already cycle with, who take the routes and ride them because they still find paths they didn't know. Also, people from outside of the area come and enjoy it really much. And the best compliment I saw was that somebody rode a route and named it on his Strava, and he called it mini holiday. And I think, well, that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's excellent. You do a loads of routes, and again, I'm not a photographer, and I'm certainly also not a route builder. I'm more like, okay, this is nice. Don't like that. What is the secret of doing good routes? Because I did a part of you just launched a new route, the Pale in Brand, Pale in Fire, on fire.
On
route.
fire, yes.
I did a bit, and I was amazed. You think you know an area, but there's always somebody says, we have to go door. It's how do you
local
do
knowledge? That's the answer, isn't it?
How do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of what Olly calls local knowledge and also, trial and error. Because I also designed the routes with komoot. I also learn from other riders and find new paths. I still do. I live here all my life. I still find new routes. And basically, it's just you try. I design a route, and then mostly with Dimitri together, we ride a route, try it out, change something. It's more like a process until we are happy. Because the last route, I made like 3-4 versions before I turned it in to the platform to check if it's okay, because I want to also create a route that it interests myself.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have it's also easier to have like a theme or something when you do a route, or is it just?
I always try to do that, but you find that back in the names of the routes, the last route was all about history. There's a lot of World War II history we have in this area, like British planes crashed in some area. There is a monument for that. I try to go past that monument with the route and try to activate people. I also put it in the caption of the route to stop, have a look at this monument, read the monument, just have a look at the pilots and read the ages of these pilots. To give you an idea, the youngest pilot crashed in that area was 19 years old. That's really impressive. I want people to stop and think about that. And it's just not about only the riding.
I completely agree. What's really also in your last route, you have and hardly anybody knows, but there's a big German war cemetery in Eiselstein, and those lads were also sometimes 15, 16. So the front line was here for the after Operation Market Garden didn't work out too well in the first end, but luckily Olly, it turned out for the best. But it's I think it's nice to, like you said, to stop, because you pass something so many times, and then you stop and then you read the monument display, and then you go like, okay, this is a moment to be silent.
Yes. So it's also a goal for the platform to give some information about the area. So we also do it, let's say, on purpose to get, like you said, the German war cemetery in Eiselstein. Well, this is not something about right or wrong. It's just something. It's here. There are 35,000 people lying there, and it's something you need to see and stop and think about it. And it's part of history, and it's really unique. It's the only one in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Well,
it gives you also a framework, and also looking back to history, and also an explanation on why things have, you see some bits in the Netherlands. You still see the history, and maybe lots of people will never learn of that. But if you can help them with that,
I'm sure, like you said, for this particular place, I think, well, I'm guessing here, but I'm comfort to say that like 80% of the Dutch people don't know that it exists.
No,
and it's really big.
Yeah, it's really it's impressive.
Yeah.
All those war cemeteries, by the way. But getting back to the komoot design process, I think you can relate to that, Olly, because when we did the route from Newcastle to Scotland, you also mentioned the whole process that you did with your friends to find out the best way to route it.
And as John said, it's a mixture of, a lot of it is research. It's riding trails to see whether they flow. Can you join them up properly? Is there something in the middle that's going to be a problem? Is there I don't know, an area that's really boggy or that's impassable or whatever? And I like John. I really love route planning. And it's when you get it right and you find something that really connects with the landscape, and it's a really nice feeling. And then you get other riders come and try it and give you their feedback, and hopefully it's positive.
Yeah, it was nice to see that I had that a couple of times yesterday when I did my ride. Is you autopilot in a certain direction because you always go there. And then you're a little bit surprised. Okay, I take a left here. Never went left here, and then there's a complete new world that opens up. That's amazing because it's your back garden. It's so close by. So it's fun to discover new bits. Thank you for those routes, by the way, because I really enjoy them.
We'll put a link into the podcast, Carlo, for the routes then and for the website, so that our listeners who are not from the area can decide why they should go and visit next year or whenever.
Yeah, and it's there's always, and people who come from Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands. There's loads of opportunities to stay the night, because it's quite touristical, but it's not there's not of much of cycling tourism. So on the gravel roads, it's easy and not too crowded. Well, thank you very much for your explanations on the platform. Looking forward to the coming months and the new routes. We always have a final question, Olly.
We do, and it shouldn't be all about tech, but we always ask all our guests, John, if they could only have one bike from now on, what kind of bike would it be and why?
Well, yeah, that's an easy question, Olly. Because I at the moment I own 2 gravel bikes and 1 race bike, and if I have to choose, well, it would be the gravel bike. I do have 2 Ridleys, 2 Kenzos, a Kenzo Adventure and a Kenzo Fast, because, well, I'm a party pacer, but I do own a Fast. My friends joke about that. Why do you have a Fast? You don't ride fast. Well, that's true.
A fast party.
Yeah, in Dutch they say Kenzo Fast niet. So that means you cannot go that fast. But if I have to choose, it would be my Kenzo Adventure bike, yes, because it's a do-it-all bike. It fits at the moment 50mm tires. I can go lower. It's really amazing.
I got a question. Actually, this morning, because there's a Bokkenrijders, the event that we do with a couple of friends over here in the Mijnweg in the national park. And what would be the preferred tire width in this area?
Well, if you ask me, I would go at least 40 mil.
Yeah.
But Dimitri, my cycling buddy, he rides 38. Well, okay, it's only 2 millimeters, so it will be fine. But around 40 mil would be, I would say, the minimum. And basically, because of now at this point, there's some mud. In the summer, there is some sand, so 40 mil will be great.
Yeah, not too much of a profile because
No,
most are gravel roads.
Yes, you don't need much.
So there's a free advice for those people who come over. Well, thank you a million, Mr. Timmermans. Take your car and it's 2 kilometers from your place.
Go cycling now.
So we go. We should plan in a cycling meeting because we've been
the best kind.
Yeah, that's the best kind. So Wednesday afternoons, I have off mostly. So we'll get back to that a little later.
I have a job, Carlo, but
I have a fun job, but I can cycle my bike now and again. Well, thanks. Let's head over to the world famous outro. Well, thank you for joining us on this month's edition of Gravel Union Talks. If you have any suggestions for guests or topics you would like us to feature in future shows, then please post a comment on our Facebook page or get in touch through the website, Instagram, or send us an email, info@gravelunion.cc. I think the inbox is populated again. I have to admit I didn't have a look at the last period, but I'm sure, Olly, that you will pick it up. We'll do our best to fit it in the schedule. Please like and star us on your favorite podcast platform and make sure to leave some hopefully positive remarks. Don't forget, if you like what you've heard in this episode, there's loads more great stories, features, news pieces and all the latest gravel event information over on the gravelunion.cc website. Special thanks to Martijn for designing our very own music and Ruben for editing the show. Thank you, Olly, in Newcastle. Thank you, John, here in Venlo. And see you all back, hopefully next time on Gravel Union Talks. Bye-bye.